two teams.
Giants!
Of two teams.
Gallman.
Let's start by talking about the weekend, so Key doesn't scold me, and then we'll start talking about Jay's Giants.
Thank you,
Bottom
Russell.
line.
Thank you, Russell
Why would
Wilson.
I scold
Thank you.
you? I just like to not dive right into football.
Yeah.
You know, we've been away from each other for 2.5 days, so you like to, try to figure out what everybody, weekend was like. Their Friday, their Saturday, Sunday.
I just watched sports this weekend because I really wanted to see, now that we're getting down to the nitty-gritty of college football, which we'll talk about in a little bit, I thought it was time to put a real magnifying glass on it. And then every time you turned around yesterday in the NFL, there was something to watch. But before we dive right into it, what did you guys do?
It was good. College football was good. The weekend was good. Got a chance to watch a little hoops. College hoops was cool.
Oh, what games you watch?
I watched a little bit of the Gonzaga game.
Gonzaga canceled. Must have been something else.
No, not the.
Damn, Zubin.
Sorry.
Just let him breathe.
No, the Gonzaga game.
It was canceled.
They canceled it.
Well, what the hell was I watching?
Texas Villanova played.
Texas Villanova.
Got you.
Coach was on there.
Yep, Jay Wright.
Jay Wright was on there.
Kentucky's 1-3 for the first time in 20 years. Maybe you saw that.
What other game was I watching? It was another little weak college basketball game that was on. I just kind of passed through it. College football I watched. Ohio State, I figured that was going to happen the way it happened.
Mm-hmm. Good win, boys. Good win.
I couldn't. What else did last night I watched a USC game, but that got out of control early.
Yeah.
I watched a little bit of the UCLA game, Arizona State game.
Hey, by the way, Chip Kelly for the first time in his UCLA career is over 500 with the Bruins. First time in his career.
What is he like? 3-2 or something?
3-2. That's exactly what they are. That's exactly what they are.
What else? And then Christmas tree shopping yesterday. So
yeah. Did you get one?
Yeah.
Well, what size are you? Because you're tall.
No,
you're a tall Christmas tree.
Well, my daughter picked it. It was 12 feet, and they had to cut it down a little bit to like 10.5. Because it's big. We want a big tree. I want little
tiny trees.
No, we got a high ceiling, so we got to have a nice sized tree.
You
man.
hear that, Zubin? High ceilings.
Stop,
ceilings, imperative. What?
Stop.
So we went Christmas tree shopping too, and I got put onto this whole thing. Have you heard about this? So I know in Connecticut, New York, they have trees that come in from California, and they cut off the top of the tree, so they're kind of like miniature baby trees that people are getting now for their apartments, only maybe about 3.5, 4 feet tall, because it keeps the tree alive. It keeps the tree healthy.
Well, the funny
and growing,
thing, obviously, being here in New York and going around, it's like in California, it's huge, so much real estate. So it's land. You go and there's trees everywhere. You just go in there open and you look and you pick and you see which one you want. These trees was like on corners, outside of grocery stores and stuff. And I'm like, so I finally found, I guess you would call a Christmas tree lot. And what I noticed,
like in the back of a bodega, pretty much. That's
basically. But the trees are all wrapped though. They had this net on them. They were not open.
So you can't really see how full they are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the dude had, I had him open like 4 or 5 of them. And then I finally was like, don't worry, man, I'm going to buy one. Just open it. So he opened the last one. And my daughter's like, yeah, we want that one. And so it came because I'm not a fake Christmas tree guy. Don't tell me anything about fake Christmas tree. I need a fake Christmas tree. It lasts for a long time, all that. No. I want my entire house smelling like pine.
I'm with you. You don't get one, Zubin?
No, my apartment's too small. Okay. By the way, I got to say, happy holidays to everybody. So we don't get a million tweets about everybody else that's celebrating about all the other things. Yeah. Sorry, everybody.
No,
happy holidays.
Okay.
No, it's great.
Holiday spirit.
And then I saw people, which was interesting. People had their smaller Christmas trees or Christmas trees in general in their shopping carts. Going to their apartments and their places, which was different.
Oh, yeah.
I'm used to seeing them on top of cars.
I'm big now. I used to steal shopping carts back in the day. Just you're in New York. I'm like, I ain't carrying all this stuff.
My daughter,
I would bring it back though. You know what I mean?
That's what my daughter said. We should get in the Christmas spirit and carry the tree. What?
Is that a tradition, carrying the tree, please?
No, she was saying because of all the New Yorkers, their trees are like in their little shopping buggies that they have. They were putting them in there and moving, going to their apartments.
Buggies.
And so my daughter wanted to strap the tree on the car and bring it home. I'm like, no, I've been past that. That's not what I do anymore. I don't do that.
Yeah, speaking of bringing it home, The Giants brought it home, Zubin.
Indeed. Early Christmas present for Giants fans like Jay. They've now won 4 in a row. Colt wasn't the unreal McCoy. He wasn't great. He was the real McCoy.
He was serviceable.
No doubt.
That's all we
105
needed.
yards, touchdown, and a pick. They've won 4 in a row. Half game up on the Washington football team, who plays tonight. No matter what happens, the Giants have the tiebreaker over the Washington football team. And Jay, being the resident Giant fan, I think everybody's been impressed by Joe Judge. Remember, this team was 0-5, then 1-7. Key said they'd make the playoffs at 1-7. I scoffed. He's going to laugh last. But
Maybe.
But you, even as a Giant fan, are really surprised they find themselves in this position.
I put a tweet yesterday before the game started, Key. I was like, hey, Russ, hey, Seahawks, just take it easy on us. Let us continue to build confidence as we go into Week 14, because I expected Seattle to blow us out. And all of a sudden, I'm watching a game. Wayne Gallman has a 60-yard run in the third. We're up in the ball game. We're pounding the ball on the ground. It's like we made some adjustments into the second half. And I was kind of, I don't know if I walk away from this game being so impressed by the Giants or more just shocked and embarrassed for Seattle.
No, you got to be.
Everybody back. Everybody's healthy. Carlos Hyde. I mean, think about all the people that they have back. I mean, you go through the list of names of all the players that they have. Chris Carter comes back, Jamal Adams, Shaquille Griffin. Their whole team is there, and you expect them to take that next step. And Russell Wilson just didn't seem like Russell Wilson at all.
You got to be impressed with the Giants, just because of they lose Daniel Jones, so you immediately think, oh, God, they lost a quarterback. Pretty much they might as well pack it up and look to do something else. But they stayed the course, and they went all the way to Seattle, and they clipped the Seahawks. Even though Seattle, much like Jay Will said, they got everything there. It's a better football team, but the Giants didn't quit. They didn't feel sorry for themselves. Saquon Barkley has not been a part of the team all year long. They don't feel sorry for themselves. They just continue to go out there and be resilient, playing well, doing the sort of things that championship caliber teams do. And I think when you look at, Joe Judge and you look at some of his antics early on, the first thing you think that this football team is lost. Oh, God, this team is they're not going to be worth anything.
Zubin.
And now all of a sudden they're taking on the same personality as their head coach. As long as it continues to work.
Let's hear from their head coach. This is Giants head coach Joe Judge on the difference from that 0-5, 1-7 start to where this club is now.
It's not just those final 2 minutes. It's what you do the entire game to put yourself in position and capitalize on it. What plays were you able to make earlier in the game that you got to go ahead and then execute down the stretch as well? I just think our team's executing, a lot better down the stretch. They've made a lot of improvement. A lot of that's from, just comfort of being around these coaches for a length of time. Building on the multiples that we have within the game plan on a weekly basis, and the adjustments we can make on the sideline or in the locker room, on a kind of quick turnaround basis.
We should quickly mention, Key, and Jay, for you too here, obviously as a resident Giant fan, one thing that was notable is that Joe Judge did not scale down the playbook for Colt McCoy. That's rare when you have a backup, because obviously you got a veteran backup here. It's a little bit different, but I think that certainly aided the cause as well.
Well, look, you don't have to scale down the playbook. When you got a guy who's played, like you said, veteran quarterbacks are there to kind of teach the young guy how to be a quarterback in the National Football League. And so he's game planning and preparing this as if he was the starter every single week, even though he's not the starter. So you don't have to scale it back. He can run the offense. I mean, it wasn't like he had crazy gaudy numbers. He had pedestrian numbers. I mean, when you look at it, it was like, it's so funny because when you look at teams that are in playoff hunt right now and you look at some of the quarterbacking that's going on outside of the big boys, all the quarterbacks are just like 160 yards, a couple of touchdowns, and making zero mistakes. That is what you need.
And give a ton of credit to Giants defensive coordinator Patrick Graham. It's not a name that we have mentioned. Jay mentioned it. The Seahawks were limited to 1 touchdown. Russell Wilson sacked 5 times and a couple turnovers forced.
Don't worry, they could bounce back in Week 14 versus the Jets.
And by the way, the Giants will welcome Arizona to town. It's the first time the Giants will be back home in a month, and the Cardinals are reeling, having lost 4
Cold weather.
of 5. It's going to be a good opportunity for the G-Men. Be a part of the Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin Nation on the Dr. Pepper Twitter feed, ESPN Nation, presented by Dr. Pepper. It's official. College football's back, and so is your favorite Dr. Pepper-loving college football town, Fansville. Head to a store near you to treat your inner college football fan to an ice-cold 20-ounce Dr. Pepper. Today, on the way, Carson was hurting the Eagles too much, so Jalen Hurts stepped in But will that be the case moving forward? The fellas weigh in on that after Jay has this from Shell.
Shell knows that from the time you get up in the morning to when you wrap up at night, there's a lot of